has now decidedly chosen sides in the several-day-old war between Russia and the nation of Georgia. While the violent and messy conflict does not lend itself exactly to white hats or black hats or equal amounts of good or evil, and while many nations are working for peace, some are taking sides. And while there is officially a ceasefire in effect, if indeed those Russian tanks and troops are standing down, they also appear to be settling in. President Bush is sending a military relief mission, and he's sending a big name to the region and sending a message along the way as well. We begin with our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, in our Washington newsroom tonight. Andrea, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. The president sent his toughest warning to Russia yet, accusing Russia of violating its promise for a ceasefire. He's also sending Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice to troubleshoot in the region. Flanked by his defense secretary and secretary of state in the Rose Garden, the president fired a verbal warning shot at Russia, demanding an end to Russian attacks.
We expect Russia to meet its commitment to cease all military activities in Georgia.
Postponing his own Texas vacation, the president is sending Condoleezza Rice.
Oh, God. George must be mad. Postponing his own Texas vacation for this shit. George, gotta put a foot in their ass. Trust me.
To France tonight and on to Tbilisi Friday, a strong signal of U.S. support for Georgia against Russia.
Those operations must stop, and must stop now.
Rice, responding to a Russian journalist, said if the Russians want to play on the world stage, they have to follow the rules. A tough exchange.
The Russians are trying to ensure the security of their forces, and they are moving there.
Let me tell you something about Russia and the USSR as it used to be. They control every aspect in their glands. They control the media. There's no freedom of speech. There's no freedom of the press. There's no such thing as freedom. Okay? Let me explain how this shit works. Their people are going to report that we are the evil dictators of the capitalist pig motherfuckers. That's what they're going to do. That's what their papers and news people are saying right now. Okay?
Creating a buffer zone. What's wrong with that?
This is not 1968 and the invasion of Czechoslovakia, where Russia can threaten its neighbors, occupy a capital, overthrow a government, and get away with it. Things have changed.
In fact,
yep, that's what she says. Things have changed around the world. I agree with her. But you know what? They don't change. They're fucking stubborn. And they still lie like banshees. They'll say anything. Oh yeah, we'll stop fighting. Why are your tanks still moving toward the end? Oh, we're taking stroll in sunlight to get some fresh air. Let me tell you something. Foot and ass policy. Foot on throat technique. That's the only way you deal with those motherfuckers.
has been criticized for not sending a high-level diplomat sooner. And while the president and Rice were categorical, military intelligence sources tell NBC News they have no hard evidence Russia is continuing to advance. Tonight, the first airlift...
They may have no hard evidence that Russia is continuing to advance, but I'm almost positive they're still advancing, and they're still blasting the hell out of the fucking Georgians.
Massive U.S. aid arrived in Georgia. The president promised more supplies by air and by sea, and warned Russia not to interfere with the humanitarian shipments. And tonight the U.S. says if Russia continues to use military operations against Georgia, it risks being kicked out of the exclusive club of Western economic powers, the G8. Despite criticism that...
I want to tell you, this has been the same threat you used on them before. These people are idiots, okay? They do not understand that crap at all. All they want to do is go back to the old days of the Cold War, okay? What's his name? George Patton warned us about the communists. Every general on earth warned us about the communists. But because we needed them in World War II, and they are communists. You understand? They don't understand the rights of others, just what they need.
The administration has no way to back up that threat. Brian?
Andrew Mitchell starting us off from Washington tonight. Thanks. And now to our man on the ground. NBC's Jim Maceda is in the Georgian capital of Tbilisi tonight.
Russian tanks rolling defiantly deep inside Georgian territory today. Day one of the ceasefire between Georgian and Russian forces, and already this looked like a major violation. These tanks were near the strategic town of Gori, miles inside Georgia.
As I said, does it sound like they're stopping their advance? No. They're going to keep going, and they're going to try to take over that country. That's their MO. Okay? The only way you stop them is brutally, and this is a dangerous situation for the United States and the world, because the Russians are a nuclear power. Okay? One thing I got to give it to the Russians, they're a no-joke army. They have nuclear weapons, they have modern tanks, they have modern weaponry. Their aircraft are up to date. Okay? They could give us a 1-4 in the combat field. Alright? So this is a very dangerous situation. But the only way you're going to stop these motherfuckers is by putting a foot in their ass.
Russian tanks have been on the move. Russian tanks have been, and Russian troops have been behaving extremely aggressively.
Russian military officials denied they were breaking any rules, saying their forces were just clearing out weapons in areas that could be used to attack their peacekeepers. We have to respond to provocations, he said. But
we have to respond to provocation. They're the only ones that open fire. They'll say, let me tell you, dancing with plum fairies dressed as Jack Frost. They'll do it. Okay? They'll lie. They'll say anything. Anything. Just to keep their fucking military on the move. Okay? They're going to push them people. How the fuck did they think that Russia, that a little province like Georgia is going to attack Russia? Okay? That's like Cuba opening fire on the United States. And they're not going to win. Jesus.
there were other ominous signs. ITN's Robert Moore was on the Russian side of the border, expecting to see Russian tanks withdrawing.
Take a look at this. All the armor is heading forward into Georgian territory.
Then, late afternoon, and despite official denials, reports of a convoy of Russian tanks heading towards the capital of Tbilisi.
Georgian security is clearly nervous. The police have set up this roadblock about 5 miles outside of Tbilisi. Military...
Okay, you know why they're heading to the capital? They're after that stupid president. Okay? The one that's fucking stupid. You know why they're doing that? They're going to depose them and put their own government and take them over. A lot of the people there in that region still feel that they're Russians. They want to go back to the old days of the USSR, conquering countries, defying human rights, torturing people. That's what they fucking did. That's what they want to do again. You gotta fucking kick them out.
Vehicles, troop carriers, even artillery pieces have been seen passing on their way up towards Gori. Now that suggests some kind of military operation, but so far the police aren't talking.
In the end, there was no fighting today, and all the Russian tanks turned back towards the Russian border, leaving Georgians baffled and afraid, and Russia calling the shots. Jim Maceda, NBC News, Tbilisi.